Hi and welcome to The Print. My name is Karanjeet Kaur and I'm a journalist and an editor. Today I'd like to talk to you about Joseph Pereira, who became the first Goan to be granted citizenship under the CAA and the price ordinary Indians have to pay for citizenship. In 2019, Indian civil society went into a pitched battle against the Indian government. There was countrywide uproar and protests all over against the proposed Citizenship Amendment Act. But in a small, quiet corner of Goa, an elderly couple watched the agitations unfold on TV in the grip of anxiety. For Joseph Francis Pereira, the bill's fate was inextricably linked to his own status as a legal citizen in the country he had always called home. Earlier this week, Pereira, who is 78 years old, became the first Goan to be granted citizenship under the CAA. The resident of Kansauli in South Goa was born here, but held a Pakistani passport. He lived most of his life in Bahrain, where he worked as a refrigeration and air conditioning expert. Now, since his retirement in 2013, Pereira has been living in the state with his wife Martha on a long-term visa. At a very well-publicized ceremony, Chief Minister Pramod Sawant presented Pereira's citizenship certificate to him. Now, there is much to celebrate in this decision for the elderly couple as well as the ruling BJP government. Over the last 11 years, Pereira applied twice for citizenship. One application was cancelled due to missing documents, while the second one was still pending when the CAA application came through, all within 2 months. But the headlines around Pereira's case conceal so much more than they reveal. Peeling back the layers of a carefully edited story reveals a life lived out amidst several pauses. I met the genial Joseph and Martha at their quiet home in a placid part of Goa, untouched by tourists. They are a little overwhelmed at having become the focus of sudden media attention, but they are understandably relieved that Joseph has finally been certified as an Indian. Pereira was the only applicant from Goa under CAA in this category, but he already met all the criteria of Indian citizenship of birth, descent, registration, and naturalization. He had Indian parents, an Indian birth certificate, and he was also married to an Indian national. Yet, his attempts to be recognized as a citizen of this country have taken more than 4 decades. It all hinges on a small technicality dating back to Pereira's youth. In 1960, when he was 14, an uncle suggested that he go to Karachi for higher education and training. There were few job prospects in pre-liberation Goa, and Pereira would probably be better off studying at an English medium school. Pereira applied for a Portuguese passport and set off on the week-long trip to Karachi by the steamboat Sabarmati, unaware of the decades-long journey he was embarking upon. Once there, he stayed with his uncle's family and studied first at a missionary school and later took up a technical course in refrigeration and air conditioning. In 1964, a homesick Pereira returned to Goa to visit his family, but headed back to Karachi soon after. He told me, "At 14 years old, you don't realize these things. I thought going to Karachi was just like taking a bus or something." Pereira said that his years in Karachi were mostly uneventful. He went to church, had no problem buying liquor, and there were no restrictions on practicing his religion. All that changed once the dictatorships began in 1965, followed by the 1971 war. During the war, Pereira could barely communicate with his family because postal service between India and Pakistan was suspended. He was forced to write letters to a friend in Bahrain who would send them to his family and vice versa. However, it was really the lack of job opportunities that led Pereira out of Karachi. Now, as political tensions in the region escalated, Pereira's simple pursuit of opportunity became increasingly complex. Within a few years, he got a job in Bahrain, but in order to go to the West Asian country, he had to surrender his Portuguese passport for a Pakistani one. This innocuous exchange of documents, combined with the political events unfolding in the subcontinent, would have an outsized impact on Pereira's life. Between 1975 and 2013, Pereira worked in Bahrain, first as a technician and later as a supervisor. In the intervening years, he met Martha, got married in 1978, and had 2 daughters. While Martha and her children remained in Goa, Joseph continued to work in Bahrain. He led a life parceled out in installments of 2 months every 2 years, dictated by the cold logic of visa regulations and leave policies. I miss my family so much I used to cry, Pereira told me. I just wanted to come back to Goa, my birthplace, my motherland. Joseph and Martha paint a picture of a life put on hold. Since the time they got married, the couple were together only for a year in Bahrain in 1979. Martha then returned to her full-time job as the office superintendent at Carmel College of Arts and Sciences and held the fort in Goa. She built the house they currently reside in and raised and educated her children. She told me, it was very difficult to manage so many things without a man around. I used to be very scared at night, but I had a lot of help from my family and friends. Now, in the post-1971 war era, as Pakistan came to acquire the status of enemy territory, anyone associated with the country would be treated with the same suspicion. And so it was with Pereira. Returning to India meant furnishing supporting letters from his wife, reporting to the Foreigners Regional Registration Office within 24 hours of being in the country, and every once in a while being subject to police verification at home. Thanks to these policies, Joseph even ended up missing a part of his daughter's wedding celebrations. Since 2013, when Joseph moved back to Goa after his retirement, paperwork became an unwelcome member of their family. Joseph could only apply for 2-year visas on the condition that Martha sign a bond stating that she was responsible for him. It meant several letters to the FRRO and constant compilation of documentation. It meant multiple applications for citizenship and dealing with confusion from officers who couldn't wrap their heads around a maze of overlapping rules. It meant having their applications suspended thanks to COVID and later cancelled over technicalities like the time of birth of his parents. If navigating Indian bureaucracy were an Olympic sport, the Pereiras would be gold medalists. They are ordinary citizens who've managed to outlast red tape, even if their weathered faces bear the marks of those battles. It's not like it happened overnight, Martha said, referring to the CAA application. We had been preparing and collecting documents for years. The Pereiras, understandably, had very different feelings about the proposed CAA, which ignited a firestorm across India in 2019. Civil society and expert groups together decried it as a damning blow to the country's secular foundations. The bill's glaring omission of Muslims was seen as a calculated move to further marginalize an already vulnerable community. In those heady days, the very idea of what it means to be Indian was on trial. Yet, in the margins of these sweeping narratives lie stories like the Pereiras. Their decades-long tale is a masterclass in bureaucratic endurance. And it's a reminder that legislation often hits hardest at the individual level. It's a story that doesn't fit neatly into any one side, but it does lay bare the human cost of political maneuvering. I asked Pereira how he now feels. He told me, I think you can see it on my face. I'm so happy, I'm free. He recalled that if he had permission to go to Delhi, he couldn't even stay with his daughter who lives in Gurgaon because it's a different district. Even though he has always felt like a Goan, the official stamp was missing. Now I can just show them my citizenship certificate and say, please don't bother me.
Show that this is my certificate, citizenship certificate, and no bother, please don't bother me.
God's blessing is upon me. I'm very thankful to Narendra Modi ji and Amit Shah ji. I can now stay with my family peacefully until my death. In the end, the Pereira saga is both a validation of the CAA's intent and an indictment of the prevailing system it aims to replace. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. While the Pereiras are distinguished by their success, how many others like them are caught in this twilight zone of identity? And what is the cost of this success? Decades of uncertainty and a life of fragmented belonging. This is the price tag of citizenship for some of us Indians.